I should have the new one by next week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's much, much, much better. Okay.
Cool.
We've got some black lights. All right. Are we live?
We are now live.
All right. Let me start the stream. We are streaming. Hello, everybody. This is episode 285, being recorded on Thursday, the something or other of November. 3rd or presumably 4th for me, yeah. Friday the 4th. And our guest today is Christina, who's going to tell us why performance matters. Of course, she has told us about that previously, but things have progressed.
Yes.
Yeah,
So, Christina, we will get you to do a recap on just the history of this and...
Yeah.
And also how people can help, if there is any way that just normal mundanes like us can help.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, but we will get there. But firstly, she will start the show. Let me just make sure I haven't forgotten anything.
Okay.
I have picked the winner.
My Audacity is rolling. Test. Looks good.
It was Runny Test, wasn't it? Yes. Winner is... Just picking a winner, chill.
Okay.
So that's done. And I think we're good. The rest of it we'll just wing because, yeah, I sort of have a sick child now.
All right. Well, we better get it rolling then, for sure.
Yes, Ari's here, but I really need to be around to help.
Yeah, Ari's... you're right. She's on
Yes.
limited work hours, so to speak.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
All right, let's get going.
All right.
Going in 5.
Are you in studio mode, Christina?
Yes. And you were muted just now, but that's okay.
I know. I was like moving a bunch of stuff.
And you are,
on
of
my
course,
desktop.
recording? You are recording because you're a professional, yes.
Yes, sir. Recording, sir.
All right, now I'll go on 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that is tearing this ship apart until we've found those plans. This is episode 285, being recorded on Thursday, November 3rd, 2016. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey, guys.
And we have a guest today. Christina is back, our voice acting friend. Christina, how you been?
I've been good. How about you?
Excellent.
Good.
And what you been up to lately in-game and voice acting, too?
In game, everyone in our guild caved and decided to do the dark versus light garbage. So we're all almost done now. It probably took us 2 weeks? 3 weeks. We're working on this.
Right. This is all for the world bosses and the in particular operations bosses and all that end-game stuff?
We did that ages ago.
Oh, okay.
What we're working on now is getting through all the playthroughs to 50.
Playthroughs to 50,
God.
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
At least
Takes
it's quicker
time.
now with double XP.
Yeah, it takes maybe 3 hours to get to 50.
That's
If
still
you're really
a lot of
burning it
characters.
up and space barring and all that.
Yep.
Yikes.
Brooks, PvP.
Don't need to get through the class story for anyone who's just doing what Christina's doing. All you have to do is get to 50 any way you can.
That's right. And how about voice acting? You've been doing some voice acting lately. You talked about some jobs that you'd just taken on last time you were on.
Yeah, I finished up a couple and they finally paid me. I did some mysterious video game in Canada. They're all
Nice.
mysterious, as we'll talk about later, but
Yeah.
yeah. I wind up getting a lot of work in Canada, which is funny because they're all like, must sound Canadian.
Yeah.
If you don't sound Canadian, oh, okay.
So I guess
Well, I'll work about that. Sorry.
You just throw in the occasional boot and
Sorry.
you're good, aren't you?
right.
Yeah, I'll get that done for you. Sorry I didn't do it. My friend Dot's not here. We have a girl in our guild, Dot. She's from Canada. She just visited me, and she's sorry for everything.
Yeah.
Canadians are apparently very apologetic. That's
They
are.
why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're so polite. And then she came here to New York, and I was like, "That's okay, eh? I want you to be a New Yorker."
Well, at least that doesn't sound
politeness
Canadian.
Isn't exactly expected, one could say, in New York.
Yeah,
Everyone's busy, very busy.
everyone is very busy.
Excellent. Was there anything interesting about the job or unusual about it? I mean, other than that it's Canadian?
The job, it was a video game, and the best part about it to me was I I got to be, I don't know if anyone's seen Parks and Rec. In the same video game, I essentially got to be both Leslie Knope and April Ludgate, all in the same all in the same place, because one character was very bright and cheerful, outdoorsy, and then the other one was very, I don't care, whatever. Get on with it. So, two
That sounds like fun.
extremes. Yeah.
Yeah. Did they choose you? Was there like a reason that you were chosen for both characters? Like were the characters related or some way, or did they just say, "Hey, you'd be great for both of these characters. Let's have you do them both"?
They sent out, I think the original audition was a breakdown. It was probably 12 to 15 characters. And then they just like read the description and decide which one, you think you're best for. And as you do it, you start to get to know what types that you're best able to do. Although sometimes you still get surprised at things, but so I just read the ones that I thought I'd be good for. And two of the ones that I read for out of maybe five. I read maybe 5 or 6. And I got 2 out of them.
That's cool. And they turned out to be very different from each other. That's neat.
Very different, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Tio, how's your Tio, how's your week?
Well, my second exam was complete this week.
Oh, nice.
It would be on Wednesday afternoon, so I am free. Haven't really had a chance to play yet, but I have a plan. Now, as mentioned previously, I wanted to do 5 of the 6 tiers of that Dark versus Light event. Unlike Christina and her friends, I am just not bold enough or have enough time to do the Eternal, the top 6 tier. So I can only make it to 5, I think. Now, I've only got 4 weeks, basically 3 or 4 weeks until the event ends.
Yes.
And I was just going through the list, and we had a question later on about how much time it will take, so we'll think about that. But just to reiterate, what I think all I think I have to do to get 5 tiers is take 2 characters, 1 Republic, 1 Empire, through to level 65. On one of them, complete all 16 chapters of Kotfi. Reach Valor Rank 5, which means a few PvP matches.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yep.
I think it's just 2.
Wow.
Usually 2. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, if you have some horrible losses, maybe 1 or 2 more, but yeah.
Yeah,
probably
that's
2.
Fine. I have PvP'd quite a lot in the past, even though I haven't done it recently, so that's all right. Complete 5 Alliance alerts once you hit Chapter 9 in the Coffee story. Do the introductory Galactic Stronghold mission. Yahoo.
That's 20 seconds of your time.
Indeed. And play through Shadow of Revan as well, of course. And that is pretty much it. Oh, the Eternal Championship, you only have to get to round 5. So those are the 5 easy rounds. The 5 not quite so easy rounds you don't have to worry about for Eternal. Obviously, for Legendary, you have to do all of that times several times. So, yeah, that would all be rather impossible given only 4 weeks left, especially since it requires some events which I don't think are coming back, such as the Gree event. Is that going to roll again? And the Ripple event?
Might not in time, yeah.
Oh,
no, I
Trick
think
PT...
the last one they did was the last Gree event before it ended.
Now, Trick PT in chat reminded me of probably the most time-consuming, and that is doing all of the tacticals. That I forgot.
That takes some time, yeah. So basically what I did is I just took the character who didn't do the 16 chapters, who just did the class story, and then I just ran the tacticals to get him to 65. So, more or less. I mean, other than a few nuances, that's pretty much how it went.
Yeah. Okay.
It's nice that you can nowadays do the random one, but you can take out the ones you want to take out, which in this is one of the few times I've really used that feature, because I didn't want to have to do the same ones over and over again.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I agree. I won't rely on random chance. I'll do all of the ones solo that I possibly can, and then it's just that final handful. Yep. So anyway, that is my plan. Somehow I'll find the time to do that without having to study. That should be, in theory, a lot easier, though that real-life thing I've mentioned previously is an ongoing situation. So that doesn't help. But anyway, we will do what we can. Anyway, that's me. Over to you, Chill.
All right, let's do a shout out to the chat room. Two Little Eyes is here. Ben B55. Blay is here as Blechlock Gaming. Count Luku. Double Trouble. Dead King. Dot Hack. Yes, we've had trouble with that name before, but yes, it's Dot Hack 617. Dre Karen, Dynamic Logan, Elian D, Eternal Abyss 73. Farseer is here. Hi, Farseer. I see Farseer a lot on Facebook, among other places. Gahana, Hawk is here. Higster, Eleva, Jagged Phil, Naraga, Norin175, Recipe Derp, Siskayeka, Trig PT, and Zamzam are all here. Hello, everyone. All right. Well, what I've done this week is started a new streaming character just for leveling, just for fun, nothing to do with dark versus light or anything like that. Called him Chill Riff, and the idea is just to take a step back from the story since I've seen it, I've seen them all before, and just sort of make jokes and have a lot of fun along the way. It's kind of like Mystery Science Theater, but without all the prep they do. So it's not as, intense joke-wise as what they're doing, but that's the sort of general idea. It's just to step back and have fun. So yeah, what I did is I made the character a guardian as close as possible to that generic Jedi that they always use in the BioWare videos.
The one with the horrible mullet.
Yes, the mullet Jedi. So you can see my character's on top, and then below that is one of the videos. Same guy, basically. And then below that, same guy, but I noticed on this video they added a beard, and for some reason they mirror imaged his character. It's the same guy, but they took the image from the in-game footage and mirror flipped it for some reason. You can see his mullet hair is going the other way, and his scar is on the other eye. So I'm not sure why they mirror flipped that one thing, but they decided it must have been an artistic editorial choice. So that was interesting. So yeah, so basically I'm taking the generic BioWare Jedi and I'm taking him through the story and making fun of it along the way. So yeah, so Tython, a lot of jokes about how, the Flesh Raiders were basically they're basically the Native Americans. Essentially, they've been monsterized, essentially, and we're making and the Jedi are basically just taking them out. So stuff like that, just having fun along the way, making fun of the story. So, all right.
You have to.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't gonna do it, and then I got an idea with all the new 50s to make clones of all the people in our guild. Just do like an evil version. So now I have evil villain Norn, evil villain Dot, evil villain Vaz, evil villain Mal, and they're just
nice.
That's
a funny idea.
I copied their character models. Like I got them to read me all the numbers.
Yes, that's nice when you can do that.
Yeah, and then like
I had to guess, obviously.
Yeah, and then I just added like a evil mustache and goatee. Because that's how you know they're evil when they have that.
That's right.
And mustache.
That's right. Absolutely. All right. So I'm enjoying that, and it's going pretty well. It's fun to do. It's fun to try, and I've seen the stories enough that it's nice to do something different with it. So that character's partway through Coruscant, and I've got lots more to go, obviously. So let's move on to the tip of the week. We've got 2 tips this week, and then a bonus tip from Christina. So I'll start us off with one from Elian D of the Unholy Alliance, and Wookiee Mistake Guilds on the Harbinger, and the Epic Guild on Shadowlands. And Elian D writes, now that crystals are going away and gear is essentially RNG, and you will no doubt be farming heroics for crystals. So here's a tip to help with that. When farming heroics, many times on your screen mission list, the mission list will have more missions than it can display on the screen, and it will say something like X additional missions tracked. This can make it really hard to easily click the quick travel button for the mission that you want to go to. I usually try to do all my chosen heroics on a given planet before moving to another planet to save load time. So if you find that you don't have the quick travel buttons available for the missions that you want, you can either 1. Press L to open your mission screen and untick the missions for the planets you are not on, which will free up the space on the screen, or open your inventory and click the Mission Items tab. Here you'll find the quick travel buttons for all of the heroics that you've accepted, that's really nice. You can then mouse over until you find the one you want and right-click it. Hope this helps. And I love the show, guys. Keep it up. Thanks, Elian D. Yeah. The only other thing I can add is you can alter your UI to sort of stretch the amount of available space in that area, which can, it'll let you have a few more in there, but it won't. If you have a ton of heroics, you'll have to do it one of his ways.
No worries. Very cool. All right. Our second tip is from OotiniCast of the Shadowlands. Hello, Chill, Tio, and the rest. That'd be you, Christina. I have a couple of tips for SWOTOR given the information this week. 1. If you have an abundance of PvP commendations, Warzone commendations left over, I would suggest purchasing 204, that's item rating 204, set bonus gear with the comms ahead of 5.0. Since the gear in Game Update 5.0 has such a large RNG, random number generator, as in random component, this would let you swap mods and enhancements while keeping your set bonus until you get a full set from the boxes. Of course, we don't know if they're keeping the set bonuses constant, so they may actually change, but at least you would get something. And of course, they have implied they're doing stuff with the class changes.
Yeah.
So the
that might be a
old
good
set bonuses,
way to find out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it absolutely couldn't hurt. So there's a good chance is what he's suggesting will work just fine.
Well, they do change the set bonuses, and God, when they had the 198 gear and stuff, I think for a long period of time, the old 4 set for DPS Sorks was better than the new 6 set, and I think the same was true like for Opulars. So we were all running around in our 192, 198 armorings because it was a better bonus.
Yes. Yep.
So who knows what they'll do.
Right. They've done it both ways, where they've had completely different ones where you end up with that, where you can where people do try to swap out for different bonuses, and then there's the other version where they just kind of change the bonuses that are there, and you either have that bonus or you don't. So, and there's no telling which way they're going to go this time, or what they'll be doing with the older ones. So.
Now, I'm going to skip his second point and he said we may not want to include it because it is effectively an exploit.
Okay.
So, yeah, but quite a clever one. But, yeah. And the other point he had, his other tip was, something else you can do is before the servers go down for the maintenance to implement Game Update 5.0 is send out your companions the night before the patch. This way, when you log into the tunes when 5.0 releases, you'll have a small head start after the patch in getting to crafting level 600. Sure, okay. I guess that makes sense.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And something else you can, of course, do is queue up a whole bunch of mission turn-ins ready to go. And then once you log in after 5.0, once you log in after 5.0 and you have early access, you can then accept them all.
Get a little, probably half a level or something like that. It's usually been in the past when people max that out.
All right. Do you want to let Christina talk about
Yes. Christina, how about your tip?
Oh, my tip was to, if you have blue comms, to change them into the exotic isotope stabilizers, because I know in Shadowlands right now, they're going for 60 to 70k still for one, and they only cost 25 blue comms, and right now that's a lot better than the conversion rate that they're giving. So if you want, head to Odessa.
Nice.
I think at this point, the purples are not worth it anymore, because you need 300 radiance to get a DMC, but the blues are worth it. And yeah, I've been turning the greens in for companion gifts because people pay an excessive amount of money for those as well. So those are well far and beyond what the conversion rate is going to be for the green, the basic comms.
Very nice.
So turn it in and dump your mats.
And we did find out today that companion gifts are going to be really expensive in terms of credits in Knights of the Eternal Throne, the rank 5 and 6. So maybe it wouldn't hurt to buy them now.
How
of course,
much will they be?
They didn't say.
Because now people pay like 100 to 200k for one gift. Top tier
Bloody
gift.
hell. That's crazy. What?
Come to Shadowlands.
Jeez, there's a lot of credits in that economy, clearly.
Yep.
Okay. No comment on that. All right.
Okay, and by random allotment, the winner is Rootines. Congratulations, Rootines. You're the winner of a Tonfon or a Mate 3R Droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and an OotiniCast provided Cartel Market Pack from the latest shipment. And if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Wednesday. That will bring us to the holo feed. Tio?
Not a great deal, though we will talk about the live stream, which wasn't the exciting live stream about class changes that we were hoping for. No, it was about repeatable chapters, but anyway, we will get there. Firstly, let's talk about the currency conversion. We talked about it on the last show. Warzone accommodations and the various crystals, the common, glowing, and radiant, are all going away as of Game Update 5.0 on 28 November. And they are all being converted into credits. So what they said they would do, and they did, just after we recorded, the next day, they actually gave out the conversions. So one Warzone com will equal 50 credits, Common Crystal will give you 500 credits, one Glowing Crystal, 1,000 credits, and one Radiant Crystal, 1,500 credits. Now there is a cap on how many credits they will pay out from that total, which is 2 million credits per character. So, if you happen to have more combined Warzone comms and crystals, and now there's no way to move your Warzone comms between characters, now that they made the things they were using to transfer them bind on pickup, you're kind of stuck with however many comms and crystals you have on that character. Now I have, as I mentioned last week, whipped up a handy dandy conversion calculator, as I've done previously, which you can enter how many Warzone comms, crystals you have, and it will tell you exactly how many credits you will get from that, and warn you how far over, if you are, over the cap. And as an example, I did my Sork, and he just had, with his combined crystals and comms, just shy of 2 million credits. But I didn't do any others. But yeah, so anyway, if you're concerned, plug those numbers in. It's pinned at the top of OotiniCast.com, so it's easy to find. And yeah, you may just have to spend some crystals down if you just want to get the credits. So, just to make it easy. Now, if anyone was curious about fleet comms, fleet commendations, they are the ones that you get from doing the on-rails space missions. Those will stay in the game unchanged. So, I guess that means you don't get Command XP from the on-rails space game? That's kind of a sort of implication.
Yeah, and also the Rails game did not show up on that picture that they had for all the different types of game activities that would give you command. So,
though they did say GSF would give command XP, I believe, and as far as I know, they're keeping the requisition, fleet rec and shipwreck, which you get for doing that. So, don't know.
Right.
All right, so that's that. Public service announcement. I wanted to mention something I saw on Twitter. They have awarded various containers containing crystals for various things. I believe they came in Game Update 4.0. What you're supposed to do is convert them to crate of crystals, I believe, at the operations vendor in the supply section on the fleet. So that's all still there as of now, but there's no guarantee it will be in the future. So I would suggest if you have any of these things, maybe they'll convert them directly to credits, or maybe they won't, and they'll just become dead grey items which you have to just vendor. So it may be smart to, if you do have any of those tokens to exchange for crystal containers, go do it now before 5.0 comes out and convert them into crystals.
I bet you I do have some characters with those on it.
But just remember, the crystals will be effectively meaningless. So if you have something that contains crystals and you open it after 5.0 and they're not automatically converted, they will be worthless. They'll just, I assume, just disappear. Maybe they'll be clever about that, but probably not. Don't bet on it. Alright, next, let's talk about crafting. So they were going to tell us a bit more details on just what you can craft. And remember, they told us last week that the one goal of crafting in Kotet is that it would be a way to gear up alts. So basically you can get the schematics or whatever and the mats to make the stuff and gear up alts rather than letting them earn command XP and get command ranks and command crates, which is the only way to get endgame gear in Kotet. So you can get close, but not quite. So what they say was, you'll be able to craft items within 2 item ratings of the best gear in that tier, but without a set bonus. And the exception to this rule is the highest tier is the lowest tier, where you'll be able to craft items at the same level. So, the tiers of gear in Fallen Empire, and so they're not telling us what the new tiers are, just as if this applied to Fallen Empire. The tier 1 was 216, tier 2 was 220, tier 3, 224. 224 is Nightmare gear, 220 was from hard modes, 216 was the story stuff. So, the equivalent would be, you'd be able to craft 216, the same as tier 1. You'd be able to craft 218, so 2 below tier 2, and 222, 2 item ratings below the top tier.
Okay.
So that's their goal. So, but also no set bonus. The only way to get set bonus is to get them from gear from the command crates,
Right.
getting command XP, etc. You'll be able to get the schematics from command crates, so they will just pop out of crates. That's for tier 1 gear, and they'll require mats from Conquest. So Conquest isn't quite going away. And for mods, you'll be able to earn the schematics to craft the mods from reverse engineering, or through PvP, or looting the schematic from an operation boss. Interesting. How would you get them through PvP?
Well, I'm not sure.
No, I'm not either.
The PvP gear is the same.
Yeah.
Maybe they are going to have special missions that will give you those items, or a chance for those items.
They drop
Perhaps.
off the dead bodies of their
You
foes.
have to loot.
Off the players you kill.
Warzone looting.
Got to be quick before they despawn. But yeah, okay. Maybe. And the schematics will require materials earned from operations or PvP in order to craft their mats from PvP. Again, maybe they just, you get some magic box at the end of a PvP match.
Must be something like that.
Yeah.
Either from the matches or from the dailies and weeklies.
A handful of magic beans to grow
be
your
able to
magic gear that you can craft.
Let's see, you'll be able to craft mods which are slightly under the top item rating, but not at the top item rating. It's a bit sad. So yeah, that's the way it was before. Remember, you could never reverse engineer the top tier, the Nightmare gear, but you could reverse engineer everything else. So ear plants, earpieces and relics, those, it all still applies. You can't craft the top item rating, but slightly under it. So you'll be able to do all the armor pieces. And what about the Crystal of Nightmare Fury? Will it require the mats from operations of PvP or something else? And they don't know. They're working on that. What else we got? What will be happening to old mats like the Dark Matter Catalyst, the DMC? And they will remain unchanged and can still be used for crafting Game Update 4.0, that is Fallen Empire schematics. And there will be a new level of augments. MK10s are here. And those will be learnable from a trainer. So that'll be fairly easy to learn that. And of course, you'll no doubt learn the green pattern and then have to reverse engineer to the blue and the purple. Even that's the way that tends to work. Alright, let's talk about the live stream, which is the last thing we'll talk about in the news, which is the Kotet Story and Repeatable Chapters live stream. So they were going to be talking about class changes, as mentioned earlier, and the reason they changed it was they weren't quite ready and they wanted to get some special guests on to talk about it, things like that. Yeah, so it's unclear exactly when they will do that, because in the new stream plan, there is a stream plan for November 10th, that's next Thursday, with a live stream with special guests, which I thought actually meant other developers, but from something Musco said today, it could be other players or community members, maybe?
Cool.
Unclear. Anyway, we will find out. So anyway, topic was story and repeatable chapters. So what they talked about was the whole how chapters will be repeatable, all 25 chapters in Kotfi and Kotet. But before they got to that, they did talk a bit about commendation to credit conversion, which we've already covered. The rank 5 and 6 companion gifts, given and told us the intention is they won't be cheap because you get them from the crates, and you only would spend credits to get them if that was the other way to pick them up. If you were just short or whatever and you had a ton of credits, like they do on the Shadowlands apparently. So, yeah. And the new updated stream schedule will be posted next week on the forums, Monday or Tuesday. So that's when we find out when the class changes are going to be coming back. Now, promotions, pre-order bonus, be subbed on by November 27th, or on November 27th to get the Rapid Recon Walker. It is already too late to get Shea Vizsla. And to get early access, be a subscriber from October 25th through November 27th. So if you're not subbed now, too late.
Right.
Now, they told us about the influencer program. Now, this is new. Now, OotiniCast had been invited to join it already. We're part of the pilot program, but they are opening it up to everyone, anyone who does any kind of SWTOR-related content. So if you're a streamer, a blogger, podcaster, YouTuber, whatever, reach out to Eric Musco, and the easiest way is to PM him, private message him on the official forums, and go from there. So one thing they're going to be doing is hosting streamers, as they did today with Rushlock. As soon as the stream was done, they actually hosted Rushlock, who was then playing some SWTOR.
Nice.
So you can be hosted on SWTOR's Twitch channel, which is kind of cool. Now, they didn't give any details about just what's associated with it, and we're not at liberty to give it away. So no doubt this will all become clear in the fullness of time. But yes, I would encourage any of you doing SWTOR content, any of you streamers or anything, get in contact with Eric, and he'll set you up. All right, let's talk about repeatable chapters. So Charles said they added it because it was due to player feedback and on replayability, as in you play through the chapters, but you could never go back and see it again without going through again on a completely different character. Now you'll be able to go through any chapter, any of the 25, again.
That's
as
kinda
many
cool.
times as you want. So if you like Sky Troopers, this is like Nirvana. So there.
Or if you enjoy the movie Groundhog Day, you can just do a SWTOR version of it.
Now, there are 2 difficulty levels with game update 5.0's launch, which is Story Mode and Veteran. The hardest, Master, will come later.
That's cool.
So, yeah. And they reiterated that you can start at Master. You don't have to unlock Master. You can just do it all at Master all the way through for the new chapters, or at a new character playing through Kotvi. And they did mention that playing a chapter on Veteran is one of the best ways, I sounded like the second best way, to earn Command XP once you're level 70, aside as a solo player.
Cool.
As a solo. Now, they reiterated that the best way to get Command XP is via group content, and the harder the group content, the better. So what's the thought that struck me with that was, we've said they've gone kind of solo focused of late. They really do seem to be turning that around in the respect that to do get anywhere at level 70, you have to do group content, really. You can get there via solo, but it will take so much longer.
Right.
And remember the change to Uprisings, they removed the solo mode. It has to be done as a group, which is kind of cool. So yes, all 25 chapters will be repeatable, but firstly, chapter 9 won't be high. You can't do that higher than story mode, apparently, because it's short and that's one with the alliance alerts and everything else. It doesn't really make any difference.
It's not a whole lot to it, because you're going out to do find a findsman and whatever. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Your choices, as talked about previously, mattered the first time, but never again. Whenever you start a chapter, all the choices that you made in previous chapters up to that point will be applied, as in that's what happened. But in that chapter, you can make whatever choices you like, doesn't matter. They won't have any effect, except that any light or dark side points you earn will be added to or removed. Will be added to your character's alignment, dark versus light alignment.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's kind of cool. And they also mentioned the bonus HK chapter. That is only, again, available on story mode.
All right.
Just because it's kind of not part of the regular flow. So no veteran mode for the HK chapter. Let's see what else we've got. They will scale to your level, including a level, so from 60 to 70 for Kotfi, 65 to 70 for the Kotet chapters. That's kind of cool as well. So it's not like, yeah. They're balanced for mid-tier endgame gear, which is, Eric mentioned that as he was playing through. What they actually did was show a playthrough of Chapter 3, and it was fairly obvious that the trash was kind of difficult, had quite a bit of health, and was doing quite a bit of damage. So story mode is what we're used to, the easy peasy mode, and now the veteran is actually apparently substantially harder.
Nice.
Yeah. And it also expects at least a rank 20 companion. Level 20 rank.
Oh, yeah.
Influence level 20 companion.
Nice.
And they were also assuming that you were a DPS player with a healer companion. So no doubt you could do it in some other combo, but it may actually be harder or easier, as the case may be.
Right. I would imagine like tank and healer would be easier but slower.
Right. Yes. Now you can scale down, so if you started on veteran, you can drop down to story at any time, but you can't go the other way.
Right. Okay.
So if you started on story, you're stuck in story, but in veteran, you can drop down. There will be new achievements associated with the high difficulty. You can bring friends to help you on the veteran difficulty.
Huh. That's
But it is
cool,
intended as a solo experience. So the question is, what happened to the command XP in that case? Does only the person who owns the story get the command XP? Or is there some bizarre thing where everyone gets command XP and it's some terrible exploit that they're going to have to fix? I don't know.
Definitely the second one, because that's what always happens when they roll out anything new.
Right. Well, remember like the bonus credits for heroics. Like if you have multiple people, everyone gets the multiplied version, so they it ended up being a huge amount of extra credits.
And
Indeed.
Yeah. And then after we have our friends help us with the content, oh no, you're exploiting and everyone's getting too much command XP. You all should have known better than to do that.
And
You
they
should have
delete your
known
characters.
better than to play an MMO in a group. How dare you?
Maybe. Though it did occur to me that since this is the best way of earning command XP as a solo play, if you do it in veteran, the smart thing to do is to find which of the 25 chapters is the shortest and earns and rewards the best command XP. And then just repeat that over and over and over again. You'd probably get very sick of it, but that would be an extremely efficient way of gaining command XP. Now, I do wonder whether they're going to put some sort of timer on this, because they haven't mentioned that, which means they probably won't. But you see what I mean? It would be only too easy to pick the optimal route and then just play that to death. I don't know. That would drive you nuts, particularly if the large number of Sky Troopers involved.
Yeah, maybe my joke about Groundhog Day will turn out to be a little more accurate than I thought.
Love that movie.
You gotta watch those Sky Troopers. They see you from 80 meters away.
Even stealth. It's amazing. Advanced technology, you see, on Zakulan stealth detection. Second to none. Now, you apparently always will get gear from a command crate, at least one piece of gear from every command crate. So fear not, you won't get 2 chance cubes or something. I don't think you'd get chance cubes, but the equivalent of that.
Right. 2 companion gifts or whatever.
Yes. They did mention that we will be companion limited. At least that was how I heard it. I listened to this a couple of times, and Eric said, yes, in some chapters you are stuck with a particular companion. So if that's not your rank 20 companion, things could get a bit ugly in those cases if you're doing it on veteran. So steer away from those chapters, I suggest, if you're wanting to farm it for command XP. If you just want a challenge, and that would be a real challenge, a rank 1, say, in a veteran level chapter, depending on your own gear, could be nasty. And I believe I've mentioned the rest. Anything else from that anyone wants to mention? It really was kind of a fairly light live stream. And after that, Charles just reiterated the whole coffee story, which we're not going to spoil for you. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you're able to bring someone along, will they be able to pull out any companion?
Oh.
Like, is it only
That's
limiting
a great
the
question.
main character? Yeah. Could you have, like, Darth Mar in Chapter 12?
I assume it would be like a normal group in a Flashpoint, where if there's 2 of you, each of you can have a companion.
Right. And then the question
Or-
is, is it limited or not? But
Yeah.
if your friendly buddy stopped halfway through chapter 1 and has Darth Marr, can he come along?
Interesting. Yeah. I
Fight
don't know.
Arkin. Yeah, fight Arkin again.
We will find out. Of course, we should just hop on the PTS and find out, Shell. If only I had time. All right. Now, so that's that. And next week, we don't know what they're going to tell us, but we'll find out on Monday or Tuesday just what's in Thursday's stream. All right. There was one other thing to cover that I did want to mention quickly, which is Electronic Arts Q2 financial year 2017 results, where they had their earnings call. I didn't listen to it, and I did go through all the material afterwards. There was no mention of Star Wars: The Old Republic. Now, they have yet to release a quarterly report, which always has a bit more detail, but at least for now, they did. It's still there on the slide pack as one of their live services, but that's it. No other mention. Apparently, FIFA's doing really well with them. Something sports crap.
Yeah, they made a lot of money also off of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, which is a mobile game that they put out.
Indeed.
Yes, I maybe have been combing the SEC filing reports for several of the companies that don't want to pay people.
Oh. Any other interesting
They're
bits and...
there. I looked at theirs mostly because I have an interest in them. I did not look at Disney's SEC quarterly reports because, come on,
They're huge.
Disney, really? But yeah, EA, they make a lot off of things like FIFA, and they also do the Madden games. They make a lot
Right.
off of those
Yep.
as well.
Apparently Star Wars Battlefront did do pretty well. Battlefield 1 appears to be doing extremely well. I've heard only good things about that so far, if you're into first-person shooters. Yeah, and Galaxy of Heroes, as you mentioned, which I still have yet to play. I think I'd rather play SWTOR than that, because I'm just not into mobile games. Now, finally, and while we're just talking about the companies involved, BioWare is hiring. So, let's see, what do we got? There's a community specialist in Montreal, a few guys in Edmonton, and a couple of positions in Austin, which is where they make Star Wars: The Old Republic. They want a senior graphics programmer and a lead systems designer. Interesting. Now, it was only Charles and Eric on the stream today. Ben was apparently there, but he didn't pop in just because it was not really assistant related one. It was just more a chapter 1. He should be back next time. But anyway, if you want a job at BioWare, they're advertising. There always seems to be a few jobs there because they're a huge company building all kinds of games. Anyway, that's the news.
All right, that'll bring us to the Academy. And this week in the Academy, Sotrista will tell us all about targeting, how to set your focus target, keybinds associated with targeting, and setting up the target of target on your UI, and how to use target markers. Thank you, Sotrista. And that'll bring us to the Force Feedback, where we read out your tweets and emails. And Javadagi wrote, "What day do we get early release? I forget. Is it the 25th?
It is the 28th of November, and it will be live for everyone on December 2nd.
So 20th, huh?
28th. Did I say 20th?
28th. It
28th
sounded
of
like
November.
28th, okay. All right, so 28th of November, excellent. And Z-Man the Gamer writes, "If I started today, how long would it take to get to Eternal level for the Dark versus Light event, and what exactly do you need to do?" Well, you talked about that a little bit earlier, Tio. Just looking at a ballpark figure, wondering if I should bother starting or just level other characters. Fort Worth Jim wrote back to him, "I finished it all in less than 2 weeks. My playtime was fairly free, though." That sounds kind of reasonable for all that, because, two characters is 65, all the flashpoints, all the chapters, and then a few assorted odds and ends. Yeah. If you're willing to do the spacebar thing like Christina was talking about earlier, then you could certainly get through a lot of it faster than the way I do it, which is, because I'm streaming and I enjoy the all the conversations, so I always add all that or keep all that.
I enjoy them too, but I'm going to wait until some other time where I'm not time constrained to actually enjoy the story appropriately.
Right. Okay, Daniel at Infinite Outcome wrote, "The Force was with me today. I passed my trials and achieved the rank of Doctor." Congratulations, Daniel. And of course, this is Daniel, who is studying psychology and was doing the whole big MMO study, SWTOR study of players that we had him on for and all that good stuff. So
We
congratulations.
got everyone to do the survey, so thank
Yep.
you again, everyone who helped him get there.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks
So
to everybody.
so exciting.
Excited. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And I believe, Tia, we're going to have him on in a couple of weeks. Is that right?
We will indeed.
Sort of
Aw,
a big follow-up. That'll be awesome. I can't
that's
wait.
awesome.
And hopefully he'll tell us about his research and just what he found.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. Johnny, Born to Eat Bacon, wrote, "Whoa, TeenyCast and SWTOR family looks like our little Padawan is all grown up." And Daniel wrote back, "I prefer to think I was at least a Jedi Knight all summer. Can we give me that one?"
Sure. Yeah.
Is there, in fact, a doctor title in the game? I'm not sure.
Dr. Loken.
I know there's, well, yeah, but I
Only
mean, like,
medical doctors.
there's so many titles in the game. I'm not sure if Doctor is one of them, though. That'd be awesome if Daniel could actually put that on his character.
I don't think that's the title. He could do Big Time,
That's right.
maybe.
That's right. Let's see. DRD wrote, "After taking a break from MMOs in general for about a year, a friend of mine was recently telling me about the HK55 story and got me excited to resub and get playing again. I've been having a great time with the boosted XP and leveling via the core story and catching up on what's changed. Then, on the way to work this morning, I was listening to a back episode of your show, episode 277, and learned that the HK55's story was both as fun as I was told and something I will never get to experience. Don't get me wrong, I'm not angry, just bummed. I get that it was a perk for subscribers. However, for a game that's strength is its storytelling, I think it's an interesting choice to permanently lock segments of that story. I understand that it's like missing an in-game event, except that I know it's still playable, just not for people who didn't subscribe during that window of time. Will it make me unsub? Probably not, but it did seriously diminish my excitement in rejoining the game. All that aside, I love the show. You guys do a great job. Keep it entertaining. Going forward, I may stop listening to your back episodes, though."
It was an interesting choice, and as we speculated, after some undisclosed and who knows what amount of time, it's entirely possible they may make that bonus chapter available.
In some
Now,
way.
they've never done that. They've never had a subscriber exclusive and then made it available to everyone.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, maybe they will. And honestly, I think it'd be a great idea because all those people who just missed out just because they weren't playing yet just doesn't
Right.
seem fair.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Or just took a month off or whatever. Yeah. All right. Well, that will bring us to the Sarlacc Digest, where we go over the issues for 1,000 years, or until we run out of time. And this time we're, of course, having Christina
Probably
back.
just 20 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We're having you back so that you can talk about the fact that the video game voice actors are going on strike.
They're on strike. They're
Now-
on strike presently.
Was there a single moment of time or issue that sort of pushed things over the edge and said, "Hey, now it's time to strike"? Or was it just a deadline, or what was going? How did this happen?
Well, they voted, the union had all the members vote to authorize a strike because SAG-AFTRA, it's all governed by contracts, et cetera, et cetera. The one governing video games is called the Interactive New Media Contract. And that was drafted in 1994.
they
And
had
it
video games
has,
then.
They did. They had video games such as Donkey Kong Country and Sonic the Hedgehog. A lot of voice acting in those, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it was drafted in 1994, and it hasn't been updated since. And video games are so fully voiced now. It's rare to find one, I think, with no voice acting in it or little. It was just time to update the contract. And they tried for many years to get the big corporations that hired union talent to agree to update the contract, and to no avail. So a year ago, their members authorized strike actions if they couldn't come up with a new contract.
Right.
And as you know, they went through the whole year trying to negotiate. It didn't happen. And so they just set a deadline. Pull my calendar. They said we have to fix it, or on October 21st we're going to go on strike.
Right. So we
And
gave them a year roughly to actually get it sorted.
A long time.
Yeah.
A really long time. Yeah, and they just couldn't get it. They couldn't get it sorted. So now they're all on strike. And I believe the strike is for any contract that is after February of 2015. So anything prior to February 2015, they can still work on. But anything new, they had a list of companies to boycott. Because it wasn't all of them. It was not all of them. They have a specific do not work for list.
Interesting.
Can you tell us who's on that list, or is that not appropriate?
Or is it a public
Oh,
list?
no, it is. It's all on the SAG-AFTRA website.
Okay.
It's EA, Disney, WB, and I think 2 others are studios. They might not necessarily be makers of games.
Right.
Not 100% sure, but it's all on the SAG.
They would be ones who do all the recording for an actual game maker.
Yes.
It sounds like,
yes. Yes.
So let's get to the point of this podcast, typically. So because SWTOR started, long ago, would that mean that that the voice actors are still okay to act for SWTOR?
I'm not sure because it depends on when they signed a contract and what the contract said specifically.
Okay.
Right.
So if obviously the X-Pack is done. So that's, that's happening.
No
but
impact. Yep.
But I suppose if they had to create a new contract or re-up a contract for new content coming in the new year, as of right now, no, they couldn't do it.
Wow.
I suppose it's a good chance a lot of the contracts were signed with all of the voice actors years ago, and they've just... How would they do it? Could it be perpetual? Or would they have to keep updating it, renewing it?
No, it's not perpetual. It's probably per game.
Right.
Then I'm not sure how they structure for additional content like DLC. Sure. I don't know if there's any kind of writer in there saying like you must be this voice for the rest of your life.
Does seem a little unlikely. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know about perpetual, but they certainly, I know that they have things in there to incentivize the fact that they would want the same voice actors for all these roles. I mean, they've had the same, Jedi Knights. They've had the same, smugglers and
right.
agents
And when people love where they work and love who they work for, they will absolutely come back to do work. So
Now you were telling us earlier that voice acting jobs are union or non-union typically.
Yes.
And one would assume that all of the big guys, would be offering union work, or their jobs are classified as union?
Yes. They use union talent.
All right.
Predominantly, people who are union are the best of the best at what they do.
That would make sense. Okay.
Yeah. There are a lot of small indie games like Heroes of Newerth. I think that they use a mix of union and non-union talent because I do see breakdowns for them. So stuff like that, they cast union, non-union, the smaller game studios. But a lot of the smaller independent game studios were not on the strike list. So it's really just the big giants that don't want to agree to the new contract.
And
Can you tell us where this...
Go ahead. What are the big sticking points before it looks like an agreement might be reached?
The big sticking points are vocal stress, which is reducing sessions where you're yelling and screaming from 4 hours to 2 hours with a certain amount of break in between the sessions. To have an in-studio stunt coordinator when they want you to wear motion capture suits and actually do the stuff.
Thrown around, yep.
Right, rolling and running, all that kind of stuff. Transparency, which is, and this is funny because when I was at the Cantina tour, everybody was talking to Valen and Valkorian, and they're like, oh, how did you get the job? And they're both like, oh, it's really funny. I just went on some audition my agent sent me on. I had no idea what it was for. I knew it was some game. And surprise, it was a Star Wars game. That's so bizarre.
It is.
Like, why is that? I mean,
Why
do you
does that
just
happen?
walk? Did you walk on the street and someone says, "Oh, would you like a job?" Sure, I'd love to interview for a job. I don't know what it is, but that sounds good to me.
And it's possible, unless you could find out from the context of what you were reading, that you would never know, and they don't have to tell you. So you could find out
they
you were
don't
in
tell
some
you.
sort of porn thriller or something, but
Which is,
maybe it would be
there's
obvious,
like
but-
one bizarre one-off case where that happened. Somebody was under a contract for a game, and the game had all this horrible, like, anti-homosexual and themes in the game, and it was full of neo-Nazis. It was very bizarre. And they're like, wait, I had no idea about that. Because the other thing is they do not show you the entire script. When you go to do animation, you know that you're, Family Guy. Okay, here's the script. Oh, okay, that sounds good to me. All right, I wouldn't mind to do this job. But in video games, it's just, who knows
you just
what you're
got
doing.
lines to read, and you don't know what other people are saying. Is it the full script, or you just have your subset of it?
Sometimes
your
you just
lines?
have your lines.
Wow. Yeah.
And
okay.
I think it varies from studio to studio, because I've
Sure.
seen live shots of Jennifer Hale doing work for Mass Effect, and they'll actually feed you the line before and give you context.
So you
But
can-
I think
yep.
that's because, BioWare is owned by EA, but I think that they, as a company, BioWare, what they do, they have better work principles for the voice-over actors. I think that's why they get so many good ones
Right.
in their games. But even
However-
still, to go to the audition, people have no idea what they're auditioning for.
Now, just to be clear, BioWare, as owned by EA, is subject to the strike, correct? So
Yes.
even though they are better, they're still
Yeah, sorry.
on the list. Yeah.
I don't know how they feel. It probably makes them feel shitty, but it is what it is. So, and the last sticking point, and this is the big sticking point, this is the thing that they really cannot agree on, is they want residuals. They want performance bonuses for games that sell more than 2 million copies, with a cap at 8 million copies.
Jeez. Is
And-
it the factor residuals at all, or is it just the amount they're asking for? Or both?
I don't understand why they're refusing, because residuals, they are an industry standard. When you do a commercial, you don't record a commercial and then, let's say you do one for Comcast. They can't just air that in perpetuity for the next 2 years of your life.
Yep.
You're contracted. They can air it for 6 weeks. If they want to keep airing it, they have to pay you again. If they want to do another 6 weeks, they pay you again. Or if you do any kind of animation, okay, so you're paid. You're paid for the job. You're paid when it airs. You're paid when it goes into syndication. You're paid when the DVD comes out. You're paid when it's re-released, et cetera, et cetera. That's just a thing that's just reality about TV and film and animation and commercials, is that people get paid residuals for what they do.
And it's been that way a
And-
long, long time.
It has been that way a very long time.
Yeah.
And what they're asking for, I believe the residuals they're asking for is 1 session fee per 2 million copies. So right now, a 4-hour session fee is $825. So if your game sells 2 million copies, they would like an extra $825
Per voice
and
actor.
then, right. Well, it's tricky because it's per principal.
Okay.
I believe so. I would have to, you'd have to see how the contract
So
was. but
extras would get less, presumably.
extras would get nothing.
okay.
That's also industry standard. Like, you get residuals
Sure.
if you're a principal performer or
Right.
supporting something like background extra small parts like that. No, so you're not even looking at paying everyone in the entire game residuals.
Right, just your principals.
Right.
So in SWTOR's case, it would be all however many
the
voice
class.
actors they have for the class
Class story
players, and
people.
probably characters like Darren DePaul for as Valkorian,
Right.
and the other ones, and the other principal
Lana
companions.
and,
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Possibly people voicing the companions.
But 2 million copies, that's a lot of profit. And they're really asking for a tiny amount of money. So is it just the principle of it? To give away anything at the moment? You do the work as a voice actor, and that's it. They don't have to ever pay you again. And maybe they just like the simple accounting of it. It's just bizarre.
Maybe like the cheapness of it.
But it's completely
mean,
against the
maybe.
way acting works in everything else and
Yes.
other voice
It is.
acting work.
Yeah.
So how intransigent are they? Do you think they will bend? Is there any evidence they will bend?
None so far. I mean, we'll have to see. And it's funny because one of them, EA, I think they put up that bizarre website.
I saw that one. That's the one with like
Yeah.
green for where they're supposedly
We're-
close to each other, and
We're at
yellow
the
where they're not.
bottom. At the bottom, you know a website's legit when at the bottom it says copyright video game companies 2016.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay. And it's funny because I read through the PDF and it does seem like they are willing to compromise, especially on the transparency and having the stunt coordinators and reducing the sessions from 4 to 2 hours when they're vocally stressful. But nowhere in that PDF do they mention the part about residuals. So they're not even telling the whole story because that's
It all
what they don't
comes
want
down
to
to
give
money.
people.
Yeah.
It does,
If that's what
and-
is really bothering them, yeah.
It is because they're corporations and they have to drive their bottom line, and it's money, 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 and how do we make more of it?
So
And they're betting that people are not going to care so much if they can't have these union actors in their games. But I mean, how would you feel if you opened up a new expansion for SWTOR and somebody other than Jennifer Hale was speaking as the female trooper? Or someone other than Kath Soucie was the female smuggler? Or that David Hayter wasn't the Jedi Knight?
that would be very,
It's bizarre.
very weird, and terribly incongruous if you're playing through it. So what are they hoping? Are they hoping that, what are they demanding? Like, why did they put up their alternative website? What are they hoping? Are they hoping the public will do something? Are they hoping that the voice actors will see that and somehow be scabs and work anyway?
I mean, I'm sure people will. Me personally, I would never, unfortunately. If I knocked on my door tomorrow and asked me to be in SWTOR, I would have to tell them no. Get some principles.
Yeah.
Take down that
that's what it comes
salty
down to.
ass website y'all put up. I don't know what I don't know what their goal was with that website. It was like a petulant child coded that. It was like these bizarre Twitter feuds that people have these
We're not the
days.
bad guys, really.
And
It's
it's
those
funny-
nasty union people.
It's funny because some people take their side, which is bizarre to me because they're a billion-dollar corporation. They make billions of dollars a year.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can afford, I mean, what max would the residuals be on a yearly basis? How many AAA games with premium voice actors come out every year? How much could it possibly cost them? Maybe max $400,000, $500,000.
Yeah.
That's a drop in the bucket to those people.
Literally.
Right. Count Luku in chat is saying that they may be concerned that residuals may set a precedent for other creative staff on a video game, not just the voice talents.
Well, in movies, do they pay residuals to all of the other people who work on it? The people who
Not
drive the
usually
cameras
to all of them.
and everyone
usually,
else?
Usually the director, and that's about it, as far as I understand. I mean, maybe
Okay.
there's
Maybe the
maybe there-
producer.
yeah, and it's
Maybe.
possible like a director of photography or something might have that in their contract, but I certainly don't think that like the hundreds of special effects artists and stuff like that get residuals.
No.
Is it true that there's a kind of anti-union feeling in the US generally? Or is that not
Yes.
the case? Yeah, okay.
No, that's the case.
again-
They used to be a very big thing here. I know my dad was one. My dad worked for Giant Food his entire life.
Right.
And he had a really good, I mean, that was his career. He started working there when he was 16 years old, and that was his career, to work at a grocery store, because it was union work and it paid him a living wage, and he had great benefits.
Right.
And then, him and my mom, they were able to have me and my sister. My mom was able to go to school, and whenever, they wanted to mess with their pensions or contracts or anything, they would have a union meeting every year to make sure that they were protected. And then when my dad was close to retirement, I mean, they were trying to get rid of those people. They paid him a buyout to retire because they didn't want to pay him anymore of what they were paying, because they paid him enough, to live on and have a family and a house, and cars.
Yeah.
But, they've got people coming in the door, they can pay minimum wage. It's sad, but that's where it's gone. And SAG-AFTRA is probably one of the oldest unions in the U.S. that's left that still has power.
Because they represent all actors,
Celebrities.
don't they?
They
Screen Actors
represent
Guild
celebrities.
and yeah.
All of it, because it's
Right.
SAG-AFTRA, and there's also ACTRA. They're all the people that work in radio commercials, TV commercials, all of it.
Yeah. So at least they have an opportunity to try to make things right for voice actors. Because without the union protection, the companies can do whatever they like. And I know the argument
Well-
from the other side is that it's all up to individuals to negotiate their own agreement, but sometimes that just doesn't work.
I mean, there's a reason that people join the union and people want union work because it pays well, and then people have to have standards. And to what Count Luku said earlier about they're afraid to pay residuals to an entire creative staff of a video game, really the entire video game industry, I think whatever they have going on should be reassessed, because I think that just about everybody that works on video games is getting fracking shafted. And they work those people to death to put out these games.
Now, speaking as a software engineer, and I can say that is pretty much true because I've looked at working in the game industry just as a programmer or as a designer, and you get paid so much less, you have to work so much harder, and this reason for that does simply be that a lot of people want to do it. It's that simple.
Right.
So it's supply and demand. A lot of people want to do it, so the companies can just, and of course, we tend not to be in unions, so there's no protection. And so programmers, etc., do tend to get kind of screwed. If you want to make money as a software engineer or anything else, you don't work in games, which is really sad. But people who do it are very passionate about it because they're willing to work for peanuts. Not good. But yeah. So where to from here, Christina? I mean, they're waiting for one side to blink, basically, presumably. Or
I mean,
is
the
there
people
compromise?
I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll compromise how much of the residuals or lower the cap. I don't know. I mean, they already capped it at 8 million. I'm sure there's a lot of games that sell way more than 8 million. I mean, if you sell 20 million copies of your game, you only have to pay people residuals up to 8 million.
Right.
Right.
So
And
I really
out
don't
of curiosity,
know.
how would it apply to games like SWOTOR, which you don't actually buy, like online services, that kind of thing?
Oh, like the subscription fee? I think it's per copy of the game sold or downloaded. Not, it has nothing to do with, I guess, the subscriptions on Switch, where it would be solely based on how many people purchased the actual game for download.
Right, which is 0 now. So
Right, but when it came out,
true. I wonder
And
how
I
much
guess-
wonder how many they did get up to.
I don't know. So we'll have to see. But right now, they're spending a lot of time picketing. They picketed EA first. How funny! That was their first campaign stop. Was right to good old EA games, and they did Warner Brothers today, I think. So I'm sure they're just going to make the rounds because most of the studios are in California. So they're just going to make the rounds to all the studios picketing. So.
Are they getting any
So,
public
say-
attention? Is it anything in the press, or is this all being very quietly ignored?
No, it's being reported
mainstream.
on a lot of online websites because there are actually a lot of people who have, I guess, celebrity status in animation and the voiceover community who have spoken out about this. Steve Blum is one of them. You'll know him from the Mass Effect games, SWTOR, Star Wars Rebels games. So, and Phil Lamar. Phil Lamar has been doing, I mean, he does animation, TV.
Right.
So, Tara Strong, a lot of people who I guess have more celebrity status than some,
Right, sort of crossover to movies and TV.
right? So they're helping to put a lot of face on this. So
Do you know, Higsto was asking about Blizzard. Do you know if they're on the list?
oh yeah, who owns Blizzard now?
Activision.
Yeah, they're on
Activision.
the list.
Oh, I guess I should have known.
If
Activision.
they're a large game company that you've ever heard of, I promise you they're on this list.
Which includes Blizzard, right?
Yeah. But see, it's not really. They're naming like the large overarching studio.
Yeah,
They're
of
not,
course.
they're not coming for BioWare. They're not coming for Caroline Livingstone or VO Direction. They're coming for EA Games, and they're $700 billion in profits. So, and you can easily find out how much money that these companies make, how much they pay to shareholders.
Mhm.
What they've spent,
Yeah, that's all
how
public
they.
information.
It is.
Yeah.
It's all on the SEC website
Yeah.
under the Edgar reports. The
Yeah,
10Qs
these are all
are their.
public. These are all publicly
Yeah.
traded companies, and therefore they have to have a lot of public information out there about them.
Yes.
Companies can be held privately, and they would therefore not need to do it. But almost all gaming companies are publicly traded, or
Yeah.
part of a publicly traded company.
Yes. All incorporated in Delaware because tax haven,
Right.
but they all do that, so they're all doing what they have to do. But anyway, if you look at their quarterly or their annual filing, and you just look to their consolidated balance sheets and their consolidated statements of operations, you can get a sense of what is making the money,
Mhm.
where the money is, how they're allocating it, etc.
Yep. And how much
So-
profit they're currently making as well. Mhm.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I see the video game companies are claiming that the guild isn't putting the offer from the game companies to their members, and they're complaining about that.
But that is the point of a union. The members
To represent the
authorize the
members.
union to represent them. They have already told the union what they want. So that's the
should be as
union's
simple
job
as
to
that.
get it to them.
Yeah.
So it's, they're like, if I could just talk to them, I'm sure I could make them understand the error of their ways.
In other words, classic divide and conquer. They want to go directly to the members and thus
Yep.
bypass the union, and then, well, they can do what
Yep.
they like, really.
Yep.
But I assume they just like to pick and choose. Maybe offer this kind of stuff to a very small set of the best voice actors, and then everyone else, well, sucks to be you.
But
kind
see,
of thing.
sometimes they already offer those people,
Extra stuff.
yes,
Right.
more because of who they are, et cetera, which is why it's important that people like Steve Blum and Phil Lamar and Tara Strong are participating in this strike because,
Yes.
in the long run, they are going to benefit from a better contract, but because of their celebrity status, they have, I think, less to gain than somebody, who's a little less well-known than they are.
Yeah, I guess this is just one attempt to take down one of the last unions with any actual power in the US. Ugh, and they're making a stand on this.
I mean, the bottom line is the contract was drafted in 1994. It needs to be updated. It's over 20 years old, and residuals are industry standard. So
And
get
exactly.
with the times.
What's being asked for is, as we've said before, completely reasonable and in line with industry practice. Come on, EA, etc. Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about, Christina? Must be
That's really
depressive.
it. I mean, if anybody, all they can do is just gather support from people, because if these companies don't know that this is important to gamers who play games, then they're not going to change, because gamers are what drives their profit. So people not giving a shit are not helping anybody. So if you want to help, you can hashtag performance matters and just tell people,
On
because
Twitter. Yep.
who doesn't want to hear that they've done great work and that you inspire them? I know they inspire me to do what I want to do, so it does matter to me, because boy, when you hear a game with bad VO, oh boy, it's bad. It's bad. I mean, to me, at that point, it is unplayable.
I would agree with that, and we have been spoiled in SWTOR with its
We
and
are.
the other BioWare games with the best of the best voice acting.
Yep.
Yes.
And those guys are
absolutely.
union. voice actors.
Or
So,
even The Last of Us. That game was better than most movies I saw that year. And why was that?
Fair.
Because the story was good and the acting was amazing.
it will
Yep.
make or break a game. It
It
really
will.
will. Crappy voice acting will. Ugh.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not good.
Yes.
All
All right.
Anything
Let's. Anything from the chat room? I've been following it as we go. No, I think we've sort of covered it as we went. Hashtag performance matters.
Right. Yeah. So
Performance
performance
matters.
matters is that's the hashtag that the guild is putting out to get the word around.
And it would not hurt to tweet at or write to video game companies and just say, what up? How about being a little more reasonable? If regular players, a lot of them do that, they may actually pay attention. Because ultimately that will hurt their bottom line. If you say, I will not play a game with crappy voice acting, and these guys deserve to be paid. All right.
Yes, what Vaz said. Pay me.
All right, then, that's the show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our guild on the Empire side, do a /c join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. Thank you to the chat room, and thank you to Christina.
You are very welcome.
And we'll see you next week.
All right, guys, keep recording. Thank you for watching, and thank you, Christina, for giving us such an excellent summary.
Thank you for having me back.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, we will be back next week. Our guest is, let's see, Aliva, and I don't know who else. So we will see. All right.
Aliva said yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we're talking about next week. It depends on the stream's schedule. So whatever they come up with. All right. So we'll end there. Thank you for watching. May the force be with you and or serve you well. See you next week.
All right, stopping the broadcast.